Hello, everybody. Let's see, we got some people in here on YouTube. D-Lynn, buddy, what's going on? Buddy, it's a great question. Thank you for that, Robert. Great to see you. Let's see, Roel, hello. Great to see everybody. We're going to let some people jump in here. A little different setup for me tonight, so a little late, but we're working on it. We're continuing to kind of adjust here. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome to the Performance Medicine Show. So glad that you guys are with us here tonight live. Anna, I see you. Great to see you. We had a wonderful day at all the Performance Medicine locations. Thank you to all of our team inside of our offices for all that you guys are doing, all the hard work. Linda, hello. I love you. Great to see you in here. We sent out Performance Weekly today, as we always do, on Tuesdays. We get it out around 12:30 to 1:30 and had a bunch of great videos to curate. Denise, I love you. Thank you so much for being in here on LinkedIn, it looks like. Thank you. Thank you for the kind words. Yes, Katie, I did. It was a last minute little switch up here, and we'll see how it goes. Carol, hello. Jack, hello. Great to see you guys. Thanks everybody for joining us tonight. We got a really fun show. Great questions came in throughout the week, and we put up a couple videos that I think you guys are going to be interested in up on the YouTube channel Performance Medicine, at Performance Medicine on YouTube. This one was on the Common Sense MD, the show with Dr. Rogers, 2023 Health Hacks. As you can see there, he's holding a Rubs ball, which you may or may not have seen. It's been getting a lot of attention lately, those little balls you rub on the bottom of your feet. And he also goes through, Ozempic and Mounjaro and rapamycin, the hip hook. Lots of cool things in this episode. So if you're interested in like what Dr. Rogers does, in terms of, his own health, check that episode out. The video actually shows a lot of it there. The podcast, you'll hear it all. On our Explain This episode this week, the star of the show, Robin Riddle, talks about hormone lab panel timing. I'm a little embarrassed to tell you that I didn't realize how important timing was when it comes to getting your hormone labs. So she details for us, depending on where you're at in life and whether or not you're already on hormone therapy, when you should get your labs done. She actually kind of opened my eyes to, there'll be sometimes where, the results actually don't mean anything. So she educates us on exactly when to come in, depending on whether you're a female or a male, depending on age and whether or not you're on hormones already. So definitely check that out, especially if you're interested in getting a hormone lab panel or a Cleveland Heart panel, which has hormones on it. Be sure to check that out. And my man, Lucas Schmidt, our nutrition coach in the Johnson City office, this is a little sneak peek into his cooking classes. It was super fun to do. We actually kind of crashed his party, and we're gonna so actually, we really appreciate the attendees that day for being so kind to let us come in and crash it and ask Lucas some questions and kind of document that day. So in this particular class, he was talking about holiday meals, holiday treats, and she'll get a sneak peek into what some of those classes are like. And if that's something you're interested in, keep your eyes open. We're gonna set the next couple of dates for the cooking classes with Lucas here in the next couple of weeks. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm getting a phone call. Let's see here. Where was I at, guys? Cooking classes with Lucas. All right, let me get back up here. It looks like Doc's almost ready to go. Welcome in, everybody, to the Performance Medicine Show. I'm going to turn my podcast on. As you guys know, we post this a week from today on our Outside the Box podcast. And let's see here. Let's get Doc in. Doc, what's going on, man?
Hi, Ben. How are you?
You ready to roll?
Yeah, I am.
I like your setup better than mine. Like, why do you have such a cool setup? It seems every time.
I need my live.
I need my live.
Yeah, Ike, because of Ike. That's what makes me look good is Ike. He's in here wanting to get on at the first of the show, but I used to have a live on air right here. I need to put that on.
Well, the other thing is I was actually trying to look as intellectual as you. I see there's like encyclopedias up there, but
that's going to be hard to do. That's going to be hard to do.
I've got a
you
smaller
need more
bookshelf.
books. I'm way older than you, so these are all the books I've read in the last month. So you can kind of fake it, I guess. But put more books back there. Put more books back there.
I need to either get the books closer to me so it looks like I am a little more intellectual than I actually am. But you look great, man.
I was realizing I wasn't an intellectual when I visited the Biltmore this past weekend and went into George Vanderbilt's library. I know many of you have seen that, but all the books he had in there, I mean, it's just unbelievable. And he handpicked every one of them. Very intellectual guy. And then went to the Da Vinci exhibit, and here's Leonardo da Vinci that lived over 500 years ago and had drawings for helicopters and airplanes and the modern bicycle. And also he painted the Mona Lisa. I mean, this guy was an incredible genius 500 years ago.
He was in fact a genius, and I see. Look, live on air is up.
Yeah.
So it seems that we're ready to go. I see Carter's in here. Carter, hello. Great to see you. I see Amber's in here. Amber, you did absolutely amazing today in the Fountain City office. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. Ruth is in here. Edna, I see your question. Great question there. I cannot wait to get to that. We haven't talked about rooster comb shots in a while, so I'm looking forward to that. Let's see here. Katie, I doubt that. Katie's saying they watch this show for me. I think they watch it for you and Ike, almost undoubtedly. Donna and Steve, I see you. Bianca, hello. Deborah's in here. Great to see everybody. We're going to get to some questions.
Everybody's bored. It's winter. It's, 7 o'clock. It's dark. You're not going to be outside. You're going to be huddled up, shivering in your house by the fireplace. So there's nothing better to do than to listen to the show and maybe to see Ike. Ike keeps jumping up here. He wants to get on air.
He's ready. He his time.
Some air time.
His call time's around 7:55. So he's early. It looks like he's anxious and ready to go. Grandma Mary's in here.
He's bored. He's bored too, I guess.
I hope Grandma's doing amazing at the Blake. Great to see you in here. Okay, we had some great questions I want to get to, and then for those of you who are new to the show, to the live show at least, we take live questions. The first part we take. Go over questions that have come in through email or through Instagram, Facebook, all the social channels. And then we get to the live questions. We're going to get to every single one because it is cold. And
we're in no hurry.
We're in no hurry. Ike might be in a little bit of a hurry, but we're not. So we're going to jump into it. And this is a great one. It's a B12 question. My B12 was up to 837 this week from 423 6 months ago. Would you be happy with the 837, or does it need to be even higher? So this is in regards to B12 levels. And I know you've talked a little bit about this for people who are on our VitaTrim shot. What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, that's a good level. I mean, really, I go more by how you're feeling than what an absolute lab test shows. So gauge how you're feeling on it. And one thing about a B12 level, if it's low, you have low B12. If it says high, that means nothing other than is you're getting B12. So I have some people say my B12 level was too high. There's really no such thing, in my opinion, as too high. It's water soluble. It's not going to hurt you. So usually somebody getting, say a weekly shot of B12, it's going to show high, over 1,500 or whatever the high limit is on that. But so that's a good level. So, kind of see what you're doing. Hopefully you're taking methylcobalamin, methyl B12. That's a more pure form, especially if you have a methylation problem. But like I do with the MTHFR gene. So look at that, and look at your other vitamins too. Really, you probably shouldn't take just one B vitamin alone, because if you just take B12, then your other B vitamins may get depleted. So make sure you're getting your other vitamins like a B complex, or in your multi, you should have the B vitamins. So, but yeah, if you're feeling good and, it's doubled, then I think that's fine. Really good.
All right. Great question there on B12. Tanya, I see your question on neuropathy on Facebook. That's awesome. We're going to get to that in just a second. For those who don't know, go ahead and put your questions in the comments for Doc. We're going to get to those in just a minute. This one's on ketamine. And what's funny is we don't talk about ketamine that much. And it's kind of a buzzword in our world, kind of in this functional integrative medicine world. What do you know regarding ketamine treatments or ketamine nasal sprays for depression and other psychological issues? And it's actually kind of controversial too. So I'd be interested to know your thoughts on this.
I think I did a podcast on that a few years ago, but so you may look back. But yeah, ketamine's been around for decades and decades. I remember when I used to go in on surgical cases with my dad back in the old days, how the anesthesiologist would use ketamine to put certain people out while he debrided burns and things like that. Something that, you just didn't want to put somebody completely under. Especially it's very useful for kids. Talk to your anesthesiologist or anesthetist about ketamine. It's really useful. And then they found out in the last few years that it really helped other things, the psychological disorders like severe depression, PTSD, and things that are refractory to other treatments. And I've seen it worked. It's usually an IV and an IV drip, and I've seen that. And it's kind of interesting watching a patient get it for that purpose. The clinic I visited they wanted to show me how they did it, and they actually had a psychologist talking to the patient while they were getting the IV, because you almost need it, because you kind of have this dissociative reaction. It's a really weird type of thing to watch somebody go through, because they it's almost like taking, like psilocybin or mushrooms or psychedelics. They kind of gets a little freaky to watch. It does work in a lot of cases. Can it be dangerous? Yes. Would I want to do it while I was by myself or not with a medical professional? No. The nasal sprays that have come out, you still need to be in a doctor's office when you do that. So if you have a really refractory case of depression or PTSD, those are the two main reasons I think that's useful besides anesthesia. But it really does seem to be pretty effective for when nothing else works. There's other things that work too that I've seen them do, like electroconvulsive therapy. I've seen the psychiatrists do that. That's painful looking. It induces like a mini seizure, and it kind of wipes out a little bit of a recent memory. And that looks harsh. It works though, but it just depends on how bad it is. And certainly if you're thinking about getting this kind of treatment, then you need to talk to somebody that does a lot of it and he's tried everything else. I certainly think it's a promising form treatment. They even give intramuscular injections, but make sure you're in a doctor's office in a safe place with professionals that are versed in doing this. They even use ketamine in some of these pain creams. It seems to help locally too. So it's a pretty cool drug.
So the second part of it is, what is your opinion, which you've briefed us a little bit, and whether or not you know anybody that you like in the Tri-Cities or Knoxville, which is where the performance medicine clinics are. Do you refer these out any in office?
There used to be a place in the Tri-Cities that did it. They're no longer doing it. It's a tough gig. Usually it's nurse anesthetists that do it, and they're good. But and I think they may still have a clinic in Knoxville. You have to look it up but right now I don't know of any that I'm referring to for that right now.
Can you tell maybe the audience like some questions to ask or things to look for? Because what you said is you want somebody who's done a lot of this. Is there any kind of key indicators when you're searching or seeking someone out who's doing ketamine?
Yeah, I mean, look at how many patients they've done with this. What kind of setting is it? Do they have a crash cart there? I mean, I certainly wouldn't do this in one of my offices. I'd want a nurse anesthetist in with you while you're doing this.
Yeah.
You can have some crazy reactions with it. I think it is a promising treatment, but just be careful. Some of the psychiatrists probably do it too, but if, I would want somebody there who is experienced with IVs and resuscitation in the office before I would do it with any doctor, psychiatrist. I mean, psychiatrists can be good, but they're not used to resuscitating people. I can tell you that. But anyway, so don't know really, any names to give you.
It's a great question. And that's something that we'll kind of put on our radar for different places. So thank you for kind of teeing us up there. Okay, let's get to the next one. And this is a glucosamine question. How does Dr. Rogers feel about glucosamine / chondroitin?
I like it. I think it works okay for joint pain. You really get the form that has MSM in it too. That's really the gold standards if it has MSM in it along with that. So for a lot of people, it does help them somewhat. It's not a miracle cure for sure for joints, but I think it does help a lot of people. Certainly, it's not going to hurt you.
All right. Thank you for that question. This is a question I'm sure lots of people are thinking. NSAIDs, what's your thoughts on them? As your son, I kind of know your thoughts, but tell us how you talk to patients about NSAIDs.
I mean, I use NSAIDs a lot, on people. You're talking about non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs like Motrin, Advil, same thing. Aleve, which is naproxen. They definitely work as good as anti-inflammatories. They can be rough on your stomach, so take them with food. Don't overdo them because they can cause kidney problems, especially if you have a compromised kidney function. They can also cause ulcers, like I said. My favorite one is probably meloxicam, Mobic, and then Celebrex is another one. You can't take that one if you're allergic to sulfa drugs. And those drugs, those last two are once a day, and they don't irritate your stomach really. And they're less likely to cause kidney problems. So I prefer those. Those are prescription, of course. But, some people need them. I certainly, when I tweak something and I'm really having bursitis or one of those things, and I'll take Mobic for several days, sometimes longer. But just if you're on them long term, keep an eye on your kidney function. Watch out for stomach problems. But of course, we use a lot of NSAIDs. If you don't want to take that kind of medicine. Some people just don't want to take anything like that, and they'll go with curcumin. That's another one of my favorites. I think it's more effective than glucosamine chondroitin. I love curcumin, turmeric. I take it every day. It's good for a lot of things, but it's a good natural anti-inflammatory. Good for your brain too. So I like that a whole lot, and that's a natural. I call it a natural NSAID in a way, but yeah, that's kind of my feelings on them. So they're good, but be careful about overuse.
All right, let's get to this is a word I had not heard before. I'd like your thoughts on Jubilance for PMDD and if it's safe to take along with prescriptions.
Yeah, I think that is one that I've heard about. I've had a couple of people try it. What is that made of? It's kind of a calcium salt, maybe oxalacetic acid or something. I don't know. It's something like that, but it's an over-the-counter medication, almost like a vitamin or a mineral for premenstrual dysphoric disorder, which is kind of a severe form of PMS. Most women experience some PMS at times, but this is a more harsh form of it. It occurs maybe a week or so before the period and all, but it can be really severe. Not only mood changes, dysphoria means depression, really, mood disorder. And the cause of it, of course, is the shifting of the hormones that occur monthly, especially after ovulation. When your hormones are changing, you have the follicular phase of the cycle, then the luteal phase. It's not going to hurt you. So you can definitely try it. There's other vitamins that work too, like vitamin D, and magnesium may help a little bit. Some people say calcium. Take 1,000 milligrams of calcium for a week when that kicks in. I think that it works in a similar way. I think, but certainly there's other ways of doing it and not having those severe fluctuations in hormones. One is birth control pills. A lot of doctors will just stick you on a birth control pill for that. A lot of people don't want that. We also use a lot of bioidentical hormones for that. I use a lot of natural progesterone for the last half of the cycle, and that seems to help it a lot too. It definitely helps sleep. I think it helps some with cramping, and I think it helps balance your mood out a little bit. I think of progesterone as a woman's Valium. Kind of calms you down, helps you sleep, balances out estrogen a little bit. But yeah, certainly you could take that. It's not going to interfere with prescription medicines for that. A lot of people use serotonin reuptake inhibitors like Prozac and Zoloft and Lexapro just for 10 days before the period for that PMDD. It seems to be effective for a lot of people. There can be a lot of side effects from the SSRIs, but for some severe cases, I've used them in people. They even relabeled Prozac for that use at one point. I forget what they call it. If I ever use it, I just use generic Prozac, fluoxetine. But so, yeah, you can certainly try this. I don't think it's going to hurt you at all. And you could take it along with the other stuff if you wanted. The other stuff's not working. Some people retain fluid. Sometimes we use a little bit of a diuretic during that last phase of the cycle. Sometimes we use nonsteroidal anti-inflammatories, just like you talked about, for cramping. So there's a whole variety of things that we use for that very disorder, which is really tough on a lot of women. It's really debilitating for a lot of them too. So definitely seek treatment, check your hormone levels, and think about getting help, because there is major help for that. And if nothing else works, I'm not against using Prozac for that or Zoloft. especially if you don't want to get on hormones. Again, I prefer the bioidentical hormones. I think they work really well and they're safe. So you can try it. I think the mechanism of action is really through calcium. You know, on the cellular level, you have all these influx of the mineral calcium in ions in and out of cells, and it's responsible for a lot of stuff. But anyway, I hope that helps you. So try it if you want, and it shouldn't interfere with your prescription medicines.
All right, great question there. We're going to go to an iron question, and I'll remind everybody, if you're with us live, we're getting ready to take live questions, so go ahead and put your question in the comments. This is the last one that came in throughout the week. This came over on Instagram. What is the best iron supplement to take for absorbability? I have Hashimoto's. My doctor suggested Vitron C, but it's been months and I don't feel any different. So it's kind of a two-part question there. Let's first address the iron supplement. What's your thoughts on that as far as absorbability goes?
Well, the one I like is one by Life Extension called Iron Plus Protein. That's the one that seems to be more tolerated on stomachs. Now, Vitron C has vitamin C in it. And it's true, if you take iron, you need to take vitamin C, about 1 gram of it, before you take your iron. It really helps the absorption a lot. So, you know, if you're anemic, iron deficiency anemia from some reason, you need to find out the reason first and then see if you really need iron. You know, iron is good and bad. Too much iron is not good. It clogs your blood. So, you know, we check a lot of ferritin levels and, you know, I see more problems with the iron overload than I do iron deficiency, but some people that are losing blood, maybe through heavy menstrual periods, et cetera, like we just talked about, could affect that. But, you know, there's a lot of nuances to anemia and iron. A lot of times, if you have low ferritin, which is the storage form of iron, it may indicate you're having a problem with your vitamin A, and also zinc and copper. So a lot of times, I'll look at that. I'll look at the minerals and I'll look at vitamin levels in detail. I found a couple people in the last week that had that, and their actual problem, one of them had a severe vitamin A deficiency. The other one had a copper deficiency. Remember, if you take zinc, it may deplete your copper. So you got to be careful and look at the balance with that. But so if you can't figure it out, you need to get a expanded vitamin panel that checks all those other vitamins. You know, the Cleveland checks some vitamins, but not those. So that's a separate panel. So, you know, I don't know. You need to get your other levels checked and see where you're at. See if it's building up. I mean, some people just don't absorb iron very well, and they have to have shots of iron or infusions of iron, especially if they're really anemic. You'll feel real better if you get an infusion of it quickly. So get a workup, find out why. If it's mild and it's just from menstrual loss or something, you could, you know, try Iron Plus Protein and also vitamin C beforehand, before you take the iron.
Now, is there any relation between iron deficiency and Hashimoto's?
There can be, yeah.
Maybe that's where these two are connecting.
Yeah.
What have you heard of? Is it Vitron C or was that a misspelling?
No, that's a word for a supplement.
Okay.
Yeah. It's an iron. It's iron and C in the same pill.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. It's not one I use, but anyway.
All right. Great question there. Thank you for putting that in on Instagram. Guys, we're going to jump to the live comments here, and I'm also going to keep an eye on my email as well as our Instagram account, just in case I missed something, or if you want to put a question in there. So let's go ahead and jump into the comments. All right, let's get to, let's see if this is from Buddy here. I think this is a question, Buddy. I had the Cleveland panel started intermittent fasting with vitamin and supplements. I have an appointment with Dr. Rogers in March. Is this too soon? And should I retest my out of range results before visit? Okay, let me see if I can get this right here. So had the Cleveland panel, started intermittent fasting and the vitamins and supplements. I have an appointment with Dr. Rogers in March. Is this too soon? And should I retest out of my range? It seems, is the March appointment too soon? Or should they go ahead and retest the out of range results before this March visit? Is that the way you're reading it?
Yeah. I'm not sure when you had the Cleveland panel, but, probably if you've already had it, and you got some results from it, like some vitamin deficiencies, this is January. No, I'd keep your appointment. Let me just talk to you and then see what we may need to get, because I may check some different things. So that way I can look at what you had on your Cleveland and see if we need anything else. You probably don't need to repeat the Cleveland, but just come in and let me look at your Cleveland as you did and see how you're feeling. And, in the 2 or 3 months that will pass since you had the Cleveland, we'll see if you're responding a little bit. And then we may choose to check some other things at that time, but I'm not sure what I would check yet until I looked at your whole situation, including your old blood work and your clinical situation. So just keep taking your supplements and I'll see you in March and we'll determine what to do.
And Buddy, I'll keep a lookout here in the comments if you have any follow-up, if we misinterpreted anything. So I'll make sure to get any follow-up question you have in here tonight. Let's go to, cool. So Robert's in here with his wife, Shelia. Shelia, welcome, man. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but thank you so much for being with us tonight. We're certainly thinking about your daughter. And again, if you have any questions tonight or any of the other Tuesdays, please bring them in here. But thank you for hanging out with us this evening. Let's get to, let's see, looking for a question here. Tanya,
Ben, speaking of that, you should go back and listen to that podcast that you did with the PhD. It's our friend.
Did you re-listen to that?
I listened to that. I re-listened to that this weekend for some reason. It was so good. He had
Dan Bolton.
He had esophageal cancer, and he's a real brilliant chemist. And he got the traditional treatment, but he also did his own research and also did his own alternative treatment. And I think it was more responsible for curing him than the traditional. So certainly do the traditional, but look into the alternative. Go listen to that podcast that Ben did. It's probably 2 years old.
Yeah.
But go listen to that podcast. It's very encouraging and hopeful.
And what I'll do for those interested in that, because it was a year and a half ago or so. We'll put that in the comments after the show. But if you search for, I want to say, performance medicine, maybe if you performance medicine and cancer, it'll show up. But Dan Bolton was the guest, and it was a really, really amazing conversation. So, and very, like you said, Doc, very hopeful.
Yeah, you need to see that. You need to watch that.
Okay, let's get to, let's see here. I just want to put this up. Tanya, first time here. Welcome in, Tanya. Thank you for hanging out with us. Hopefully we can bring some value tonight, but we just appreciate you being here with us live. Let's get to Donna and Steve. Wanted to ask Dr. Rogers about Digest Shield. How many a day, and is that the only probiotic you need to take? Do you need extra enzymes? I have been under a lot of stress this past year, and I'm having diarrhea. It's a very common question we get, Donna and Steve. So go ahead and talk to us about Digest Shield.
Yeah, well, I love, of course, Digest Shield. It's the best gut pill I've seen so far in 36 years of practice because it includes the prebiotics, the right blend of 11 probiotics, digestive enzymes, which you need to help you break down fat. It has a dairy blocker, lactase. It has a gluten and a lectin blocker, chitosan. So it's all in one pill. I take it every day. I've had just so much great feedback on this product. It's unbelievable. I think every human needs a probiotic and a prebiotic. This just happens to be the best I've run across. Um, so certainly for routine use, especially with people with gluten intolerances and lactose intolerances, it's just fantastic. So I like it. Usually you take it twice a day. Um, about 15 to 30 minutes before you eat the two major meals of the day. Sometimes I use other probiotics if I really need them. You know, I usually talk with Robin Riddle about it. She's my expert on the GI map, etc. I sent you one today, Robin. But certainly stress, there's a huge gut-brain connection. I think stress kicks off a lot of gut problems without a doubt. If you're having diarrhea and it gets prolonged, you need to look into it and get some stool studies, like the GI map's the best one. But you might even want to take a 2-week course of Shield Nutra's product, the IGY, that's fantastic.
Microbiome Shield.
Yeah, Microbiome Shield is wonderful. So look into that. We should have them in all our offices, or you can get it off the internet as well. But look at the cause of it, the root cause. If it's stress, you need to get that under control. But if you have persistent diarrhea, you're losing weight, you're not absorbing things, it needs to be looked into. I'd get on a real kind of a bland diet. I'd get on the Digest Shield for sure. That's a no-brainer. And look into it and find out why and get that taken care of. I can speak to you with the experience from that.
Do you ever, they mentioned, do you need extra enzymes? And Digest Shield, of course, has enzymes in it.
It has the digestive enzymes. Rarely do I need extra. As a matter of fact, I had a patient that came to me today for seeing a GI, and they had them on a really expensive digestive enzyme blend. And I just took them off that and put them on Digest Shield.
Yeah.
Yeah, here they are. Thank you, Jim. Yeah, but there's a Digest Shield, and there's
Microbiome Shield.
Microbiome. Wonderful products. You only need this for a couple of weeks usually. The Digest Shield is a daily thing. It's a wonderful product.
And best practices as far as timing goes, based on what we've seen, is 30 minutes prior to your meals. You can start with your biggest meal. And I know you, I think, take it 30 minutes before each of your meals. So kind of play around.
Two meals a day. Yeah. But if you forget to take it and you're sitting there eating your meal like I did tonight, I just took it with my meal.
All right, Don and Steve, hope that helps. ShieldNutra.com if you want to learn more about Digest Shield and Microbiome Shield. All right, let's get to Ruth's question here. Can I use licorice root while on high blood pressure medication?
No, that's something you should avoid. Licorice root has some benefits, but not with high blood pressure. Avoid it. That's funny because I saw an advertisement on TV for licorice, different flavors of licorice. They'd mail it to you, high quality licorice. But yeah, licorice is a neat little, I guess it's an herb, but you should not use it if you have hypertension. It could interfere.
All right. Thank you for that question, Ruth. I'm going to put this up from Carter. Glad to see you have something in your place. Thank you. I appreciate the decor. See if you can see my books there. My 7 books in the house. So thanks, Carter. Let's get to Edna's question. Are rooster comb shots good for arthritis of the knee?
Yeah. The original one was called Synovisc. I used to inject a lot of it in knees. It can definitely put off a knee replacement for a while. You may need to keep getting them. Sometimes they last up to a year, sometimes not that long, 6 months. But Yeah, they're okay. They're pretty good. I prefer, to be honest with you, I prefer PRP, platelet-rich plasma. I think it works better than rooster comb, and a lot of the studies show that. And it's certainly coming from your own body. We do that. Jill Henderson, my PA in Bristol, does a wonderful job. She's injected both my knees with PRP and platelet-rich plasma. And I'm telling you, I could not sit on a mat and put my butt on my heels. Now I can lean all the way back. I've showed you, Ben, but tremendous flexibility now because of those shots, and it didn't hurt to do them.
Now, I'll say tremendous flexibility is a bit of a stretch. I'm not sure you had that before the injury, but I can attest that it's way better than it was.
Thank you, Ben, for pointing that out. I am pretty flexible for my age, except in my low back. I'm very inflexible. My problem's my low back. But yeah, I never had any knee problems until the last year when I tweaked it playing pickleball, as you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, they're pretty good. The rooster comb shots are more covered by insurance. The PRP is not. But certainly they both work. So yeah, I like them. If you have bone on bone, it may not work so well. If your knee's that far gone, you may need a knee replacement. Like one of the last patients I saw today in my clinic, she finally is going to go ahead and get her knee replacement. But yeah, that's a pretty effective treatment temporarily.
Thank you for that question, Edna. I'm gonna say what's up to Rachel from our Johnson City Clinic. Thank you so much for hanging out with us this evening, Rachel. Let's see here. Our next question is from Tanya on Facebook. I have neuropathy in my feet because of going through chemo last year. It is not painful. It is numbness, but the cold is bothering me so much. I'm falling a lot due to not being able to feel half of my feet. What can help?
Boy, that's a great question. Yeah, that is a side effect of chemotherapy, and I hope that you're doing well. Yeah, one thing, there's some things you can try, because you're right. It's almost, some people describe it as a painful numbing can be kind of a weird type of pain, I think.
Yeah.
Because when you have a pinched nerve like a carpal tunnel, it's a pinched nerve. Your kind of neuropathy is a little bit different, but one thing you could try is vitamin B6. Try B6. That may help you. Sometimes we'll use medicines like Neurontin, which is gabapentin. Matter of fact, I used that today for an odd off-the-wall use, gabapentin. I used it in the case of for hiccups.
Really?
Yeah. I'm anxious to see if it helped him. But a patient of mine had some intractable hiccups.
How chronic were they? Could not get rid of them over the course of days?
Few days. Yeah.
Huh.
So we'll see. It's kind of an off-the-wall treatment for it, but it's pretty effective. Nothing else works. All the stuff like breathing, pulling your tongue out, Valsalva, stuff like that. So I'm interested to see if it helps him. So the other thing you can do for that proprioception in your feet is really important for balance. And that's why you're falling. So there's a couple things I want you to do. One is, besides B6, I want you to get something called a Rubs ball. Ben, you actually turned me onto that through listening to Tim Ferriss, but it's a little ball. Gosh, I wish I wish Jenny could bring that little ball for me down here and I'll show you. But it's about this big and it has these little metal projections, almost spiky like things. But you rub that on the bottom of your foot and it stimulates that deep perineal nerve, which is responsible for proprioception of your feet, which leads to good balance. That's what a lot of people don't realize is that, if you don't get the nerve endings to your feet, standing on one foot for balance control is not going to work as well. That's why I like you walking around in bare feet. I like grounding, which I talked about. But here it is right here. Thank you.
And
You
it's
see that ball?
RUBZ.
Z, yeah.
So if you look up RUBZ
Can you read that?
ball on Amazon, it's $8. It's amazing.
Yeah, just
But it has
rub
those
that,
spikes.
on this is ball feet. You rub it all over every day, several times a day, and it'll stimulate that deep perineal nerve. That may help you a little bit. But try the B6 and go from there. And maybe even, there's some other things you can do. There's some nerve stimulator type things you can do that I don't have in my office, but you can do your research. Some people are helped by that. But, there's some things you do, so don't give up on that. And certainly you don't want to be falling.
Yeah.
For sure. So try those things and go from there.
Tanya, thank you so much for that question, and thank you for being with us this evening. Let's get to Penny's question here. Robin, I see you. Great to see you. Penny's asking, what is the best bone broth with collagen? Something lactose-free. Thank you. What's your thoughts on this?
I bought some of that recently.
And Katie might have some a suggestion. I know she's using bone broth as well.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's lactose free, the stuff I was taking, but mine was beef bone broth. You can get poultry. I prefer the beef. It's really good for your gut. It's really good for electrolytes. So I don't know. Maybe Jenny could bring my beef bone broth down again. I hate to have her running up and down the stairs, but I can show you what I have. But anyway, maybe Katie can chime in. She's pretty good with. She's somebody that eats raw beef liver every day.
Yeah,
she claims it's really helped her.
And
it's probably the most nutrient dense thing you could ever eat.
Yeah,
if you can stomach it. But
well, it's small amounts, isn't it? When you do raw beef,
it's a small strip. Yeah, it's a small strip of liver. Some people would kind of sear it. Yeah, Publix has the grass-fed one. Definitely, you need grass-fed beef always.
And Aldi's also a great one. She's saying Aldi also has the organic. So this is, of course, would be lactose free. And looks like Jenny's coming down, getting her workout.
Thank you. There's the one I have.
Collagen in bone broth. How do you take that? Do you just do like a spoonful?
I just warm it up and drink it like
tea
out of a cup. Yeah, kind of like soup. Yeah.
How does it taste?
It's not you wouldn't do it just for the taste.
No,
it doesn't taste bad. It's not great tasting, but it's tolerable for sure.
I'm putting this up here from Katie. She's doing 3 strips daily of beef liver.
3 strips a day. Wow.
I love it. And then Bianca and Katie can chime in with Bianca's here. What does the liver help you with? Stomach issues? I think it's just nutrients, right? Like that's what the
nutrients. Yeah. I mean, you get a lot of vitamin A, zinc, copper. Really, you don't have to take a lot of extra minerals if you do that. And most people that do it, I find, are on the carnivore diet, which certainly Katie's done great with it. Really in maintaining lean weight and energy and all. It's just a nutrient dense, way better than vegetables. I mean, you can eat all the vegetables in the world, you'll never compete with beef liver as far as the nutrients in beef liver compared to vegetables. And don't worry about you think a liver is a detoxifying organ, which it is, but to eat it, you're not eating toxins. You can go to Dr. Paul Saladino's books, Carnivore Code, and he has a blog. Pretty interesting.
Super. It is really, really interesting. Katie, thank you for putting that in there. Great question around collagen. Penny, thank you for putting that in the comments there. Let's get to Kay on Facebook. Then I'll go to YouTube here in just a second, guys. My daughter has ringing in her ear after an ear and sinus infection. Is there any supplement that can stop it? Does she need to go to an ear, nose, and throat doctor? This is such a common question. Ringing of the ears, I know, is a pain. What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it's a toughie. But if it's just ringing in one ear, it needs to be checked out. If it's bilateral, it's a little less worrisome. But yeah, it needs to be looked at by some doctor, whether it's a family doc or ENT. Either one can look and make sure nothing's looks abnormal. Sometimes ENT will do a hearing test on you to make sure your hearing's not being affected by it, and there's not pressure behind that drum. But one supplement, it's tough, but the only one that pops in my mind is pycnogenol.
Yep.
That may help. That's sometimes helpful for tinnitus. So pycnogenol, try that, and make sure somebody glances at your ear and make sure that eustachian tube is open. You might even try some over-the-counter Flonase nasal spray. May help a little bit. So,
and Kay, we have done a Common Sense MD episode on pycnogenol. If you search for performance medicine pycnogenol, it'll come up first. So check that out after the show for sure. It's a really interesting. It's a supplement, right?
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Super interesting. All right, let's get to Roel's question. Doctor, can I ask, what is paresthesia? What causes it? My mom, 76 years old, had her face and her left hand went numb for about 2 minutes. Then it went away. I don't know. I've never heard of this one.
Paresthesia just means numbness.
Okay.
Tingling nerves is a good definition of it, which can cause numbness. It's usually caused by, a blocked nerve. It can be caused by spinal stenosis. It could be caused by carpal tunnel, which is just blocking of your median nerve in your wrist. So there's a lot of different ways to block that down. One thing you might try is B6.
Mm-hmm.
If there's other symptoms along with it, like motor dysfunction and things, it really needs to be checked out, usually by, EMG testing.
EMG?
A neurologist, yeah. A neurologist will stick a needle up here and measure the time it takes the little shock to go down to your hand or in the feet, legs, whatever. So you may need those tests done if it's persistent. But see if she has spine problems, especially neck problems, because it's easier to block off nerves in the neck than it is the low back. But or sometimes they can occur in the brachial plexus, sometimes in the elbow, a lot of times in the wrist. So look at that. There's different types of paresthesias, glove paresthesias, and so have it checked out for sure to see what's going on with that. There can be a lot of weird stuff that causes it. Usually, it's kind of a blocked nerve or a pinched nerve, some people call it.
Great question there, Roel. Thank you for putting that in there. I'm just going to put this up from D. Lynn. I don't think this is a question, just a comment around the NSAID question earlier. Peroxicam is what I'm taking, one every morning, I think 15 milligrams. Mobic wasn't doing much good. It's for bad sciatica. I'm going to talk in depth with my doctor in March. He's not the one who put me on. Okay.
Yeah, that's an old timing one that a lot of people used. And it's weird how one NSAID will work and another one won't for a particular person. It's really strange how your body can work for you. Really, it's probably because of the way your DNA is looped. And there is a great salivary test. We used to be able to get them. I used to run them all the time that matched up your DNA with a bunch of different medicines in a bunch of different classes. I wish we could do that. We just couldn't get insurance to pay for it.
I remember it was a nightmare.
I did it on myself, and it was really interesting.
It really is it's a cool, like that's where, medicine will undoubtedly go.
Yeah.
where it's very specific to
Looking
the
at your
person.
genetics. Yeah, exactly
Yeah.
right. Like a lot of the psychs use them because they want to know if you're going to respond better to the Zoloft or Prozac if they put you on one of those. So,
Yeah.
or different pain medications, et cetera. But um, it's interesting. Very interesting.
All right, D-Lynn, thank you for putting that in there about peroxicam. Let's get to Shauna. So good to see you, Shauna. Hope you're doing well. The question is, are you a fan of the greens everyone is talking about right now, or is it just a gimmick? What are the benefits of so? So I'm assuming this is athletic greens.
That's what I would think. Yeah,
I would,
athletic greens.
I would think.
Tim Ferriss is a big
Yep.
promoter of those. Yeah, I think they're okay.
Yep.
I really do. There's a lot of vitamins and minerals in them. It'd be a lot cheaper to eat a little bit of raw organic beef liver. Athletic greens are expensive, but they make them taste pretty good. I've taken them in the past, and they're a pretty good supplement.
I've only heard good things about them. But with the way we're talking about the carnivore and beef liver, it makes you think about, how many veggies do you really need to be taking in? Do you want to be taking them in for your gut?
Yeah, some
Super
people
interesting.
can't digest vegetables very well.
Yeah.
They're hard on your gut. They really are. For some people.
All right, where am I at? Thank you, Shauna, for being with us tonight. Let's get to Deanna here. Hi, what is your opinion on direct sales vitamin/wellness supplements, specifically Thrive? This is a great question because I know there's probably a spectrum. There's probably some really good ones and some that aren't that great. What's your
I'm
thoughts?
not sure. I've heard of Thrive, but I'm not real familiar with it. I don't know. Do you have any other ideas, Ben, about the direct sales supplements?
So when I think of that, I have not heard of Thrive either.
I've heard of them, and I think they're pretty reputable. I'd just be careful about companies that they want you to sign up and you to sell them. It's kind of a pyramid type thing. I don't like those.
Yeah.
If that's the kind of thing it is, I'd steer clear of them. I've gotten involved with a couple of those down through the years and never works out. They become really expensive and, money becomes the motivator. So I'm not big on if it is that type of thing.
Yeah.
What do they call that? Mass marketing or multi-level marketing?
Multi-level.
Yeah. I always ask, is this a multi-level marketing company?
Yeah.
When they try to sell it to you and then they start being mealy-mouthed, what I mean by that is they go, well, I mean, start talking like that, then don't do it.
It's a great question. And like I said earlier, I'm sure there are some really reputable ones out there. I think
there's probably some good companies that sell. There are the multi-level. Some of them are pretty decent products, but I just don't know that you want to get involved in it.
Right.
Because they get to be really expensive. So.
Thank you so much for that question. I'm just going to put this up here from Carol, and I think Carter already answered this. I believe Carter, am I right? Are they back in stock everywhere?
Hope so. Yeah.
I'm assuming so. But Carol, thank you for putting that question in. Okay, and Davis KD, I see you came in on Messenger too. I'll definitely get your question that came in through direct message. Let's see here. Where am I at? Let's go to Raynette here. Orthomolecular indigo greens available from Performance Medicine Office. Has a lot of fruits and veggies listed in the ingredients. Is this a good alternative to the fruits and vegetable supplement capsules that are heavily advertised on TV?
Yeah, I think it's better. Anything that comes from orthomolecular is really first class. I've just been impressed by, and that's the one I take when I supplement with greens. Is that one? I think it's it's better than athletic greens. May not taste quite as good as athletic greens, but when I compared them, it looked better. It's definitely going to be organic and doesn't have a lot of fillers in it. So I really like it, you know. So I do like it a lot. I have some in my house, I think. Maybe I can get Jenny to bring them down if she's still up there. My indigo greens. I hope I have them here. I may have taken them to the office. But anyway.
Raynette, thank you for that question. Let's see where I'm at. Penny's got one. I just got my probiotic 100B, and I'm supposed to take 2 per day. What do you think about this?
Yeah, if you're having gut problems,
okay, this is it.
Okay, Saccharomyces boulardii, 100 billion CFUs, colony-forming units, and that's the one I took when I had my gut problem that Robin really helped me through. And yeah, that's exactly right. You don't need to stay on those until your gut's healed. But yes, very good, very, very good. I think that really helped turn me around.
All right. Cherry's asking, have you heard of sweet wormwood supplement to treat Sjogren's syndrome and rheumatoid arthritis?
Sweet wormwood supplements are really good ones. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do a podcast on that probably in the next week or two. So listen out for that. I haven't, there's a lot of different reasons to use that. I haven't specifically used it on my patients yet for Sjogren's and RA, but it is supposed to be good for a lot of autoimmune things, and may even help raise your hormone levels a little bit too. But gosh, I'm trying to think of the word for it. If it's apigenin is the actual word for it. That's not my supplements, but anyway, brought a bunch of greens down. These are not
there we go.
Greens. You know, this is just the head of cabbage. Now it's a supplement. It's in a canister. But thank you though for that. She's getting her exercise tonight.
Let's see here.
Yeah, I'm listening out for that sweet wormwood supplement. I've got. I'll do a podcast on. I want to do a little bit deeper dive before
on sweet wormwood.
Recommend it to which type of people and diseases. But great question though. I think it's going to be very helpful to people.
Super interesting. So stay tuned, guys, for a podcast on sweet wormwood. Thank you, Cherry, for teeing us up there. And Davis, is the question you put in the comments? Because I'm trying to look for it in Messenger and I'm not seeing it. So I just want to make sure I get to everybody. Let's see. Fran's in here. Fran from our Johnson City office. So good to see you. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight.
She probably just got through with her Orange Theory workout, her second one of the day, I'll bet.
Fran, is that right? Your second Orange Theory of the day? I love it. I love it.
Probably.
All right. Barbara is asking, my husband is 54 and stage 4 IgA nephropathy. Is it okay to do the carnivore diet?
Yeah, no, you got to be really careful with that on that one. Check with your nephrologist for sure, but you got to watch out for too much protein with that. Not knowing the specifics or different kinds, don't go doing that without talking to your nephrologist about that. So be careful.
All right. Thank you, Barbara, for putting that in there. Let's see where we're at. Gosh, great questions tonight, guys. Thank you so much for starting these conversations. This is from Bianca here. This is referring to the Physique and Evolve machines. It was in the health hacks for 2023.
Yeah.
article and common sense. What is that fat burning machine you talked about today? Is that like a vibration board? It's not a vibration board. I'll
No,
let
it's
you
a
kind of
laser. It's
describe it.
actually a laser. It's a very expensive laser, but also has a mode in it that's almost like a TENS unit on steroids. So vibration plates work a little bit differently. I like vibration plates, but this is going to be a lot more specific. You put the pads on the areas you're trying to either melt the fat or stimulate the muscles. And you can do, ironically, with this one, you can do both at the same time with the same pads. In the Evolve machine, which we'll have in Johnson City, there's two different, they both do the same thing, although that one works by radio frequency, not laser. So they kind of can complement each other, but I'm really impressed with the Physique machine. Do your research on that machine. And, I'm not sure, I'm sure people, as a matter of fact, my rep is from Nashville on that. So I'm sure their
Oh, there's
machines
definitely.
in Nashville. But yeah, I've been really impressed with it. And,
What are you using the Physique for? Like, what are you doing it in
I don't
particular?
want to tell you. I don't want to tell you. No, I will tell you. I will tell you. I have, well, I lost a lot of muscle with that gut problem I had. And the first place a guy loses his muscle, especially with somebody with scoliosis and back problems like I have, is butt muscle, so buttocks. Plus, I put it on my abs as well, to stimulate the abs. I don't need fat burning as much as I do the electrostimulation. It's kind of like working out without having to work out and do squats. Is it cheating to get muscle? Well, in a way, but sometimes it's the only way. If you can't do squats and, because your back is hurting, it's definitely a good way to kind of build that muscle up, which supports your lumbar spine to the point where you can do a little bit of weight with your squats instead of just air squats like I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
And lunges and things like that. But look up the Physique machine.
Yeah.
It's really interesting, very effective, permanent fat burning, for those areas that you just can't get to. I mean, I have a lot of patients that they work out all the time. They eat great, but they still have a little bit of a love handle. As you age, your fat goes in different places, and you cannot spot reduce, love handles or inner thigh fat or back of the arm fat. It just can't do it. I've never seen anybody be able to do that through exercise. You can build muscle, but burning that stored banked fat is tough to get off. And this is one kind of easy way to do it.
Yeah.
It's not a weight loss machine. It's almost like a sculpting machine. It's specifically for areas of fat that you can't get rid of otherwise. Or you look emaciated if you did. But anyway, great question.
It's super interesting. Thank you, Bianca, for putting that in there. Okay, let's get to Davis, and I hope this is the question. I can't find anything in Messenger right now, but I could just be missing it. Thoughts on oral progesterone for hormone replacement therapy?
Yeah.
What type is recommended? I know you have lots of thoughts on this.
Yeah, that's a great question. The only oral hormone that I use is oral natural progesterone. Just make sure it's not medroxyprogesterone. Actually, you can get Prometrium from a prescription, and it actually is natural progesterone. But I prefer the compounded forms that you get at a compounding pharmacy. And I do like it orally at night because it helps you sleep. It's safe, and it's not the dangerous medroxyprogesterone. I don't know how many times a day I explain why you should think about being on hormone replacement therapy and my explaining the difference between medroxyprogesterone and natural progesterone, which is a completely different molecule that even a lot of your gynecologists don't realize that, because it's not their fault. There's nobody going to teach you that unless you dig for it yourself, because there's no money in it through big pharma. So progesterone may be the most important female hormone, in my opinion.
And Davis is asking great questions here in the comments, and Fran is they're having a great conversation. So if you're on Facebook, look at Francis Wilson and Davis's conversation around this, because the questions around, like, how do you talk to your GYN about it? How do you request it from a GYN? And I think a lot of people are in that scenario, and not a lot of GYNs will do this sort of thing, or at least,
and don't blame them. I mean, they're hesitant. And I can go through the whole spiel with you again about the fallacies of the Women's Health Initiative that turn a lot of women off of any kind of hormone replacement therapy for fear of breast cancer, when actually there's less breast cancer when you do bioidentical hormones than not doing anything. So don't blame them. Just, remember, it's your body, it's your choice. As a matter of fact, the last patient I saw today at 5:30 was a patient that was sent to me by their gynecologist. They were just going into menopause, needed their levels checked, and they're gaining weight because of the menopause. And she said, "You need to go see Tom Rogers." And she goes, "I happen to have an appointment with him already." So it was great interaction. I love to work with the gynecologist. I have a lot of gyno friends that are very knowledgeable about hormones. Do your research. Read Dr. Pam Smith's book on all about women's hormones. To me, she's like the guru, world famous. So don't blame somebody that doesn't know something about it. Like I told you yesterday we had a question. My doctor won't prescribe LDN, when I asked them to. And they asked me what to do. And I go, your doctor shouldn't prescribe you LDN if they're not familiar with what it does. You should never use a medicine that you don't know about. I wouldn't either. So, but just go to somebody like a functional medicine doctor like we are, and look at that. I mean, we take the best of traditional and alternative. There's great out of both. If you ignore one side or the other, you're cheating yourself. So there's great things in both worlds. But some of the stuff's, you have to dig for it. And they're not going to teach it in medical school, your residency. And the drug reps are not going to teach it to you. So you really have to dig for it and be interested in it. And if some of them aren't, they're too busy with other things. So hey, this guy does a good job with this. Go get an opinion from them. And, that's a really good question. I'm glad that you brought that up.
Yeah, it's a really good conversation. And like I said, if you guys are on Facebook, look at what Fran is talking about. She's talking pharmacies and insurance coverage. So thank you, Fran, for helping Davis out. And we just need to talk more around how to have these conversations with your different providers. And
don't be afraid to bring it up with your provider. And if they just stonewall you, or, I do not like it when a doctor says, as a lot of patients have told me, their doctor said, "I'm the doctor, you're the patient. You do what I say." I do not like that. If that happens, you find a different doctor, in my opinion.
Kind of going along with this topic, we put up a post that around cash-based practices yesterday, and how you're starting to see a lot of cash-based specialists come out. And I want to just talk about this a little bit, because I think a lot of people are thinking about it. Obviously, a lot of where am I? I'm looking for the comment around the concerns for pricing in a cash-based specialist. And the question is, what would a rheumatologist, endocrinologist, or a cardiologist charge in a cash-based setting? Because obviously for primary care, it's a little, it's definitely going to be cheaper in terms of, and it's maybe a little less daunting to go to a cash-based primary care doc versus like going to a rheumatologist or a cardiologist that are cash-based. And you've had a cash-based practice cardiology group on the Common Sense MD, and like, how do you talk to people about the concerns around pricing for specialists in the cash-based setting, out of curiosity?
I always say you usually get what you pay for, and you want transparency with pricing for sure. It's going to be a little more expensive, but it's still going to be reasonable. And remember, when you go to insurance-based doctors, which is 99% of doctors, you're not sure what you're going to end up paying. And, a cash-based doctor has no incentive to run unnecessary tests or do things like that. And you're generally going to get more time and, maybe get to the root of your problem a little bit better, I think. But, unfortunately, most doctors have to work under the insurance model. But nowadays with high deductibles. Again, the best answer is get you a health savings account with a high deductible insurance plan. Insurance is for disaster, not for routine care, in my opinion. That's what insurance is, insuring from disaster, not covering your routine stuff.
Well, and some things should be within the insurance model. They mention, what if an oncologist goes cash only? And I don't think that's what we're talking about. If there's certain areas of healthcare,
like surgeons, if you get in the hospital, you're going to have a hard time affording, what it would cost to do, take your gallbladder out or your appendix out. The costs in a hospital are unbelievable. I talked this before when my dad took appendixes out in the 60s. It was $100 to take your appendix out. Now, when Andy got his appendix taken out in Los Angeles, it was $220,000 was the bill. The settlement was $23,000 for what the insurance paid. So there's no transparency at all. You have no idea.
Yeah,
so you have to have some kind of insurance, but you usually get what you pay for, and you know what you're paying for, and it's generally worth it. So and plus, if you do go to some of these specialists, you can get a super bill and they can give you a code and you can do it yourself. They just don't want to be contracted and obligated to those insurance companies for a multitude of things. Oh, you can't run that test. You got to do this first. You have a lot of non-medical people telling you what to do as a physician. So physicians don't like that much because they're sitting there talking to the patient. They know what they need. I admire these cash-only doctors. There are cash-only orthopedic surgeons that do joint replacements for cash. And a lot of times it's cheaper than what you'll end up paying for anyway. It's unbelievable. They do it outpatient. And so check into it. I think there's going to be a lot more people doing this like we've seen in the last year.
And I think from the patient's perspective, it's more about, just understanding what your options are and knowing that you have a choice. You don't have to go to, a certain place that takes your insurance. Right. There are different options. And because I don't think you're saying at all that, you should only go to, a place that's cash only. I think it's more of just taking control of your healthcare and choosing, where you want to go cash only and where you want to use what you want to use your insurance for. Because, you've been very open. Everybody should have insurance.
Everybody should have. And, ask about an HSA and, the most offices, including mine, will give you a super bill with a code on it. And you can turn it into your own insurance, but doctors should not be working for insurance companies. They should be working for the patient. And it's a private practice. It's private. It's between you, me, and the patient. And I like that aspect of it also.
Yeah.
It's just really interesting. I like the fact that, it's not out there on the internet, what you're taking and all this stuff. Because once you get into those, a lot of those patient portals, and they're convenient, but everybody in the world has access to, I don't care what they say, it's out there. It's out there. What you have diabetes, you may get turned down for life insurance or rated as a bad risk later on because they filed your insurance under that code. So there's a lot of nuances to it. So you have to think. I saw 2 pilots today that did not want their records going anywhere for fear their sugar was a little bumped up. They did not want that out anywhere.
That's
and I said, well, it's not going out. You see me, it's not going anywhere between me and you.
Yeah.
But you needed less sugar. But so I like that aspect of my private practice. So there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be doing this. There's some people that not be able to afford it. And that's one reason why we do these educational things for free, or podcasts and all this stuff for free. We want information to go out there. We're not doing this for an advertisement to come see us at all.
Yeah.
We're just doing it for knowledge. We're trying to, we have a little mission, and that's healthy aging, preventative care, find the root cause of the problem, and look at medicine from that, because I do not like the way medicine's going. That's why I chose to do this route, and I've been very happy with it. I'm definitely a better doctor, and I'm not like a rat on the treadmill having to see 50 patients a day and spend half my time on a computer trying to find codes for something to get money from an insurance company. I just refuse to do that. I wouldn't be practicing medicine at 68 if I had to do that anymore. I just wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
So that's my little spiel. So look at transparency.
Yeah.
And if you're not getting help from your other doctor, consider somebody else that may look at it from a different angle. That could be helpful for anything.
Yeah.
A lot of times I'll say, look, I'm not sure about this. Let me get a second opinion from somebody, especially from somebody I think may know more about that disease than I do. So, we all should work together.
Yeah.
For you, the patient. That's our only objective, is really help get you better. You have to make a living doing it. Unfortunately, overhead is expensive, as you know.
It's a powerful message. And, I think I'm just so pumped that people are coming to shows like this and interacting in the comments. And, we always say, we learn more from you guys than you guys learn from us. And we appreciate y'all being a part of this and making this show educational and fun. And Doc, man, I appreciate the time today. I know you've had a busy day.
I've had a busy day, and hey, here's the hip hook you gave me. That's another little hack. I love this thing. This thing is awesome for getting into my iliopsoas muscle and iliacus to loosen it up. I have very tight hip flexors, as I told you before. This machine's really good.
It's cool.
I don't wake up anymore in the middle of the night with really tight hip flexors, which those are deep abdominal muscles which support your lumbar spine. So this little tool's been great, Ben. Thank you. That's what Ben got me for Christmas.
That's a Christmas present right there.
You see that?
Hook. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a neat little tool. I'm going to use it right after this podcast. I'm going to get on the floor and get in there and work it out.
Is Dr. Ike ready to sign us off?
Can you bring Ike over here? He looks like he's chilling out over there. Yeah, let me get him in here. Everybody, they came to see him. Come here, Ike.
Guys, Dr. Ike is coming up. I think we've gotten through all the questions. If I miss somebody, go ahead and put it in real quick. We'll try to get to everybody, but I don't think I missed anything. If I did, I will certainly take note of it or shoot me an email, ben@performancemedicine.net, and we will get to that next week. There he is.
Okay. See, look, I'm tempting him. He really wants this. He'll jump
Dr.
off
Ike.
as soon as he gets it. But there he is. I'll give it to him. He's been such a good
You've
boy.
been a good dog.
Yeah.
Doc, man, I appreciate the time tonight.
All right, Ben.
Guys,
See you.
thank y'all for hanging out with us this evening. Steve, I see you, brother. Thank you for being here, man. Terry, I see you. Guys, y'all are awesome. Y'all make this show great. Thank you for being here every Tuesday. As always, we'll be back next Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Doc and I will be here answering all your questions. Katie in the comments, Carter in the comments. We had Rachel, goodness, Amber, Fran. Thank you so much. Everybody who's on our team to come in and help out with any questions. We really appreciate that. Y'all make this show super, super helpful to many people. Dad, I'm signing off, man.
All right. Love you. Talk to you
guys,
later.
Love you. My outro. Where is my outro? Bye, Ike. Bye, Ike. See you guys. Love y'all. We'll be back next week, Tuesday, 7 p.m. The Performance Medicine Show. See you guys.
Don't go away.